Ow. Alright, we got a new video on the Cruze today. Car's sitting about 120,000 miles and I'm going to do a coolant flush. It would probably pass what the specified time frame should be for the coolant flush, but this car's been worked on in the past and stuff has already been replaced, so I don't know how many miles are actually on the coolant because it's been swapped out before. But we're going to do that today because also I have a coolant leak I got to take care of, and I'll show you what to do for that, to flush your coolant at home, to do a quick fix, maybe not the correct fix, but a good enough fix on the coolant leak I have, and show you other places that could be responsible for leaks if you find yourself kind of slowly losing coolant. But first things first, since the petcock for the radiator is down here in the bottom, I keep mine in my pants. Anyways, so first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to go under here and we got to remove this panel here, and it's held on by a couple of push pins here and right up along the front edge. Where's my finger? Right there, where's my finger? Yeah. All right, those are T15's Torx. And then since someone's worked on my stuff before, I have a Phillips head screw there too, so that won't apply to you. But what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this out and I'll get back to you. Okay, that front air dam thing is kind of removed. I was smuggling a bunch of rocks, so it's probably good to clean it out every once in a while. Alright, so there is your petcock drain plug, whatever you want to call it. I have a hose hooked onto it to try and control it as much as possible. Run down over here to my pan. I'm going to pop it open. Hopefully most of it will flow into there. I may have to stop a few times and dump it out. It's this thing takes about 1.5 gallons of coolant total, so you probably won't get all that out because I'm not running pressure on it, but it's kind of fine, and stuff will be sitting in here, of course. So I'm just going to crack this open. I may need to break it free with a tool. Oh no, that's nice loose on its own. Well, not nice and loose, just not super tight. Pan right there. It's not really wanting to go down that hose. I'm probably just gonna have to pop the plug out altogether. Oh no, it's flowing out of the hose slowly. Okay, I'm gonna crack open. Right now there's pressure in the system. I'm gonna crack open the reservoir, see if that dumps out a little bit faster. If the plug was out totally, it'd be full bore running, but I don't want that. I want to try and keep control of this as much as possible. There you go. Yeah, okay, we got a nice little smooth flow going on here. So I jacked up the car on the driver's side, not so much because you need to, just because I really need to get room to get out the panels. So as we are draining this out, I'll just go over the areas of where you can have issues with leaks in this car. So commonly you have back here at this top and bottom hoses right here where they connect into the heater core, like the connector goes bad. You have this bypass return line right here that connects, can go bad. Where this bypass ties into, it's the water outlet. It's plastic. They tend to crack and go bad. Mine has already been replaced at one point in time. Can't really see so much, but it's right here. This hose that runs down your thermostat housing right here can sometimes crack and go bad. Let me check that. Okay, it's going, yeah. Can crack and go bad at times. But my issue where I'm having is right here, this line right here on the turbo coolant return line. It's a hard line that ties in right back here. There's like a threaded nipple right here, and then a hard line that ties into the back, comes over, and then it turns into a rubber line that runs from here right to here. Get close enough, you can see right around there a little coolant's been coming out the top, but right here it's a crimped end to where the line goes on there, and they crimp down the metal thing. They fail all the time. If you look how easy this is, see how mine's just sliding. So that's where my issue is coming from. To replace this all together, supposedly you have to, at a minimum, take off the catalytic converter and do it from the bottom to get the whole hardwired piece out. We're going to do it the kind of half-assed way of doing it, and we're just going to remove the rubber line here and replace that with a piece of 5/16 hose, reinforced hose. We're using fuel line, even though it's not really recommended for coolant, but this is kind of a low pressure line, so it's not going to hold more than 50 psi, so it should be okay. I imagine the turbo will go out at some point in time, and at that point in time, when I pull everything off, then I will replace it with the correct one and not have to worry about it. So yeah, you don't have to drain all the coolant when you're doing this to replace this line. I'm doing it obviously because I am already needing to flush this stuff out, but you can just pop this line off, put in a new hose, and then just kind of re-top off the system, and you'll be good to go. But I'm going to let this all drain out now, and I'll get back to you when it is time to change that line. Okay, I end up getting probably a gallon and I don't know, a few ounces out, which is probably pretty good considering it's about 1.4 gallons total when it's completely dry, and plus there's the stuff in the heater core I can't really get out, and it was down a little bit low on coolant, so that's probably pretty good. All right, I'm going to get you set up. I'm going to change out that hose. Okay, so we're going to pop this hose off here. If you're having trouble kind of seeing it compared to your car, normally this heat shield will be sitting right here. So it's just 3 E10 bolts, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom, to get that out of the way, and you'll need to remove that to be able to get access to this. So we need to pop out this spring clamp and then drag the rest of this hose off. Maybe we'll try the hose first. Guess you should go and say, watch out for your oil cooler line right here. That so you don't get that damaged. There we go, that's popped off there. Oh, I should have put that tray underneath that spot. Figured it'd be all empty by now. There we go. That's off. So as you can see, it's just a slip-on metal fitting, and they just get trashed. We're going to try and save this heat sleeve if we can. If not, I'll just put some new on there later. Okay, so my battery's running low, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to film me doing all of this, so I'm just going to show you. 5/16 fuel line. For pipe clamps, I'm going to cut a piece I need. I'm going to make sure it's not too tight to where it gets kinked up so it doesn't block flow. And I'm going to slide on there, put 2 pipe clamps here, 2 pipe clamps there. Why this was locked on there, not just a piece of hose to begin with, makes no sense, because both of these fittings have a barb on the end to where it should have just been what it is. So I'll do that, and then I'll clean up all this other leaking coolant. And as a side note, this oil cooler line right here, these leak a lot in these cars. So if you find yourself doing this, or you just find yourself an oil leak kind of down this area, it's coming from this side here from the O-rings in it. So just go ahead and change that out super fast. Takes about 5 minutes. All right. Okay, here's what I ended up doing. The fuel line I was trying to use, goddamn wind, was getting crimped up every time I put it on there. I may just need to try another piece in the future, but what I did right now is I took the original line, which didn't seem to be the issue. It seemed to just be the clamps at each end, and I pried off the hydraulic fitting here. I just used a pair of snips and just kind of cut that away. It doesn't appear that I damaged that hose in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying to do this way, but I put the hose back on there, and I just put on standard hose clamps on it, and I'm going to try it like this. And if all else fails, I'll come back, I'll just pop that off, and again replace it with the fuel line with a new section of it that hopefully won't crimp so easy. I think it's probably because I had it a little too long to begin with, and I'll do that. Now I spilled a shit ton of coolant all over everything, so it's going to stink for a while and burn off, but I'm about to start refilling the system. I'm going to drop this off the stand, put everything back together, and then I'll just run you through real quick what you got to do for that. Hey, hi, it's me from the future. So I went through the whole process of filling everything up here and running the car and getting everything done. I thought I fixed the leak. Come to find out, after I got home, when I was driving it the second day and parked it, I came and I saw that on this line right here, look, maybe you'll be able to see kind of close, see those little spots there, and then right up here kind of at the bulge, there's little pinholes in this line, and coolant was bubbling up. This is the engine oil cooler hose if you need it. This is the part number for it. As of the time of me doing this video and replacing this hose is very hard to find. Of course, I was doing this on a Saturday. I noticed this at that point in time. I tried calling the parts department at a local dealership. They were closed. I ordered one from eBay from Arizona. It's supposed to be here in maybe 10 days. Today is now Monday. I called up that dealership. They said they had 2 in stock. Neither of them were there. I called another dealership and they had 1. And it's this one. It looks like this. Okay. It goes right from here off the thermostat housing down, and there's a little spring clamp. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Maybe right, yeah, the spring clamp is right there and connects to a hard line that goes over to the oil cooler. Now it's like 35 bucks or something about there. That's what I paid for eBay. That's what I paid at the actual dealership. There are things on eBay where it's this hose attached to the actual metal hard line that goes in there for like 11 or 12 bucks. I don't think those are probably quality, so you may want to, if you have to do this, try and track this hose down, or I mean, you can take a shot on the other one. I certainly am not going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to replace it with this hose, and now I just got to try and get that spring clamp off there. I took off the intake hose going from the air box, and I got a rag stuck in here to keep anything from going down into the intake into the turbo. I'm thinking I may have to take off this actuator from the turbo. Maybe it's a blow off valve or something like that. Not quite sure, but I think maybe I'm gonna take this off. Looks like it's 2 bolts, C-clip down here in one line, and hopefully that'll give me enough room to get down there and get that spring clamp off. All right, once I replace this, I will do the process that is now coming up for me in the past, showing you how to do it correctly. All right, okay, so update. This has been forever. So I ended up taking that bolt out down here that holds the tube in. I popped the tube out. I cocked the hose on there correctly to match the tube for the way that I took the old one off, and been fighting to get it back into the oil cooler. Hopefully the O-ring's not going to leak now that it just came out. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, because it's just the way this is going. I end up having to pull the whole air box out to be able to get my arm in through here to be able to get in to reattach that bolt and fit my hands in there. I end up having to take a piece of old glove, rip a piece off, stick it in the top of a socket to hold the bolt in so I could actually get it lined up and thread it in. This car was designed by people that have never worked on a car in their life. It is a master class of how not to run things. So just, if you're going to work on these things, make sure you go in it with that understanding. I've got the the car flushing out right now and cycling the coolant through, and this is the hose that came off that ended up being a bigger leak than I thought the other one was. So if you kind of look at it the way it sits in the car, you can't really see stuff. But if you actually look at the hose here, it's pretty cracked there, and then right up here, hopefully you can see. I don't know, I can't tell, or not right there. So probably wasn't that much time left on this hose, so make sure you check this one too when you're checking the rest of your car. Okay, I got everything back together, the air dam and stuff back on the bottom. The car is down and the car needs to be level to do this. So first of all, you need to get Dexcool, GM brand Dexcool. It sucks. It eats all your plastic parts up. That's why all the plastic parts keep breaking and cracking and giving you leaks and all that stuff. But this is what GM decides to use. Whatever. I have the concentrate right here. And what you do is, if you get the, you can already buy it pre-mixed 50-50, and then you spend about twice as much money. If you get one jug of concentrate and one jug of distilled water, you can mix them together 50-50 and you save, you know, like 50% off. Now, the water needs to be distilled. Why does it need to be distilled? People think that water causes rust. People think that water conducts electricity. Water, pure water, does not do that. It's all the impurities in the water that end up causing the rust and or conducting electricity. So when water is distilled, it boils away. All the water vapor is then captured and all the impurities are left behind. You need to use distilled water or you can rust out your system. Okay, so what we're going to do for this is you have your coolant reservoir up here, put a funnel in it, and then you go over here to the top corner of your radiator. Show you right then. You can see. Okay, there's a hole. Get in here. I'm assuming you guys can see. I can't see a camera. There's a hole right here. Okay, that's your vent hole. In that hole, there's a white nylon plug, 13 millimeters. You're going to pull it out. Keep it right here. You're going to slowly dump coolant into the reservoir through the funnel. You let it go. You let it go. You let it go. You let it cycle through the engine until you start to see it run out of this little drain hole over here. Then you'll plug up the hole, you'll fill the reservoir up to the cold line, and then you go through the process of starting the car up, letting it run on high with the heat on, and let it run through and cycle. Okay, now water is a self-leveling fluid. What that means is that it goes for equilibrium, so it's going to try and even out the water level from one side of the engine to the other side of the engine. That's what's going to come and push all the air out, and hopefully you don't have any air pockets left when you add in the extra bit of water and it gets pressurized. On a side note, which is really cool, if you guys are doing something like building a deck or something outside and you don't have a really long level, what you can do is get a clear hose filled up with water. You hold the one end so that the water level is at whatever height you need on, say, like a post on one side, and then you can go 50, 100, whatever many feet away. It doesn't matter as long as there's enough water into the thing where that water sits at the line on both boards is going to be level, because the water self equalizes. So if you ever need a nice big level or something like that when you're building, remember that little trick. Okay, so now I'm just going to go start filling this up till the water starts dripping out of there, and I'm going to tighten that up. Then I'm going to top it all up there, and then we'll run through the starting procedure. Okay, it's all filled up. Got the coolant up here to the cold fill line. There's an arrow right here on the side. I think both sides. Yeah, one down there. Down there. So it's pretty easy to find. So what I'm going to do now is take this funnel out and set that out of the way. Okay. Then I'm going to go leave this off for a minute. Going to go into the car, start up, let it run for a good bit, because the car may want to suck down some coolant that's sitting up in here. I'm going to turn the car on, turn on the heat on full blast, and let it run. I'll let this run for about 30-45 seconds, come out here. If the level drops down, I'll add some more to it. If not, I'll put the cap on it, close it up, so we start building up pressure. Okay, I'll get the keys. All right. Neutral. Doesn't matter what you set it. Roll the window down. So we're gonna let it run. Disregard the check engine light. I saw that my computer connectors were, for whatever reason, popped up the other day. So let this run, and now I'm going to be watching as I do this the temperature gauge and make sure it doesn't get up too high. Okay, let's go back under here. Now we're seeing smoke coming right here. That's because I spilled coolant all over everything. Until that burns off, it's going to be smoking, so don't really pay too much attention to that, I guess. It's fall right now, so I got leaves falling everywhere. Make sure to go out of the engine compartment, because if you know anything about the cars, they originally came with a belly pan underneath the engine, but they would catch leaves and cause fire. So first thing they do on recalls in these cars is just cut out the belly pan and kind of ruin your gas mileage that you bought this car for. But it is what it is. Okay. Burning off coolant, burning off coolant. Yeah, that level dropped a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit more to get it up to that. Oh no, it's pretty good on this side. I'll do it after it's done bleeding. Okay, so now it's just kind of a waiting game. Okay, here. All right, I'll go ahead and close that up. Our system will now start to pressurize. Make sure you got that nylon nut tightened up enough, but not too much that you break it. Okay? So now what you're supposed to do when the car has been running for a bit to warm up the oil and all that, you're going to kind of sit here for maybe a minute or two and hold the RPM at about 2,000 RPMs. What that's going to do is try and force more air into the heater core, which I already got hot air blowing out of here, which is good. But we'll do that, and then I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to wait till the gauge comes to where it normally sits. Make sure the thermostat opens, make sure the fans come on, and then when that happens, I'm going to turn the car off, and I'll be back to you at that point in time. All right, so it's been like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or something, and the temperature is barely cooled, and it is toasty coming out this heat. So the heater core is definitely cleaned out, so I'm just going to turn that off. That's nice and flushed, and now I'm just going to let it run up the temperature. If you come here and look, you can see that the coolant level has dropped down about 3/8 of an inch from the coolant line. So once this runs and runs and runs, and enough to kick on the thermostat and the fans, I will turn it off, and then I'm going to let it cool down. Not going to touch anything. When it's totally 100% cold, I know for a fact, then I'll come and I'll open up this reservoir and fill it back up to the cold fill line, and everything should be good to go. Make sure you do not open this up when it's hot, because it can spray out and cook you. Okay, so that's all you need to do to at least flush the system. Hopefully that holds. If not, then I'll do it the correct way and not the way I tried doing it, but hopefully that'll be good to go. I won't know for a few days. And I guess like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz bullshit, whatever they want, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.